match. Tonight, I want to share with you the tangled and colorful tapestry of the people and events who have woven together my dream. When I was 8, my dad's mother taught me the joy of creating with yarn. In fact, I remember sitting and watching my grandmother knit this very sweater. Working with my hands became the perfect hobby for my shy self. Fast forward to 1997. I was living the dream in one of the first downtown high-rise apartments. I was footloose and fancy-free. My best friend was a man named Javen. He was a hysterical fellow with a gargantuan personality who kind of helped me overcome my shyness a little bit. This was when I chaired a fundraiser for Meals on Wheels called Mardi Gras, and that was emceed by a handsome young man named Bill Fairley. More about him later. Javen was my will and I was his grace. We even vowed that if we were still single when we were 40, we would marry, even though we were not really each other's type. I was happy and life was great, but sometimes one phone call can change your dreams. One year later, my healthy, non-smoking, 54-year-old mom was diagnosed with cancer, and she passed away in 18 weeks. I was 30 years old and I was broken. And while it felt like all of my dreams were dying with her, my mom knew better. She said, "Julie Sue, do not wait for a husband to buy a house. It is really important for you to do this on your own after I'm gone." After a few months of wallowing in my grief, Javen pushed me out of downtown to see where his people lived. He said, "You know, the gay community always has the best taste and the inside scoop." On my 31st birthday, Javen and I looked at 12 Fairmount houses in one day. I put a contract on the first one I saw. No Chip and JuJu, no HGTV, just a quick decision, a signature, and voila, I bought a house. I really knew nothing about owning a home except for that it was really cute, and what else was there to know? Yeah, a lot. When you were a single girl buying your first home that was built in 1916, there are a few things you should know. Homes do not come with refrigerators. Do not look at the final dollar amount on your 30-year price tag at the closing or you will freak out. And stuff breaks. All the time. Like everything breaks. One morning I was walking out the door for work and my really cute wooden porch was mysteriously and massively buckled. What the hell? I called a dear girlfriend to commiserate. That evening when I returned, everything was unexplainably flat. And there was a note saying, "I fixed your porch." I thought I had an old home angel. Another day, I was relaxing in my picturesque clawfoot tub, and one of the back legs fell off. While I was in it, with a tub full of very heavy, bubbly water. I eased my way out to call that same friend and bawl. And before my tears and my hair were dry, 2 old home angels rang my doorbell to help. Over time, life started getting better, and I was living the dream again, but my heart still felt really heavy. My counselor asked me, what did I used to do as a child that brought me joy? The answer was easy. Dig in the dirt and play with yarn. So on the spot, I received a written prescription to garden or to knit 1 hour a day. I took my homework really seriously and I jumped in with both feet, literally, with a lofty goal to immediately make socks. Now, if you're a knitter, socks are not really a beginner project, and so that's why those have really pointy toes. But I began to knit, and I knit, and I knit. So much so that I actually kind of quit dating. My benchmark was, would I rather stay home and knit or go meet some random guy out? And most of the time, I wanted to stay home. Gratefully, after miles and miles of fiber and millions of stitches, I was healing. A few years later, I reconnected with a man who intrigued me enough to set down my yarn for a few hours. Remember that handsome young man from the Mardi Gras fundraiser? Well, Bill Fairley and I fell in love, and we got married 15 years after we first met. Bill and I made plans to merge our lives. We had a his house and a hers house, and we needed an ours. We looked at the inside of 43 houses, our poor realtor, and made 3 offers in Fairmount before we closed on our Lipscomb Street home. And now, with a loving partner by my side, I felt unconditionally supported. I started to share my love of yarn with friends' children, like Finley, who incidentally was the first kiddo to call me JuJu. I made gifts for others, and I started quietly sharing my creations on social media. Meanwhile, my 30-year PR career kept spinning while the world of media kept changing. One Christmas, my sister gave me this plaque. What would I do if I wasn't afraid? The answer was simple. I would open a yarn shop. So we started to pursue my dream. Twice we tried to buy that yarn shop where I learned to make socks. Once I considered leasing a space next to a friend's restaurant, but neither was meant to be. I was overwhelmed with fear and uncertainty, but my dream would not die. So last fall, my husband got tired of my tears, and we drove around the near Southside for hours, writing down addresses, researching obsessively, and meeting with leasing agents. Nothing really felt right. There was a quirky little building down Lipscomb that had always called to me. No matter how many beautiful lease spaces we saw, I could not get this pink and brick building out of my heart. I kept digging online to find the owner, who eventually I uncovered was the old home angel that rescued me repeatedly at my single girl house for so many years, Mr. Ralph Watterson.
Woo-hoo!
After writing Ralph a very long dramatic letter that honestly resembled something from a Lifetime movie, and some pretty bold stalking through mutual friends, Ralph honored my request to see the inside of that property last fall. I raced to the space as fast as I could, and I immediately burst into tears. My uprooted, sometimes heavy heart that kept plodding down an unknown path finally felt at peace. I was home, and I shared my vision with Ralph. I wanted a community that binds people together. I wanted a gathering place, a place where people put down their phones to connect in person, to talk and to share, all while learning to work with yarn so they can grow and create and heal. That little girl who once had no roots has now lived in the same Fairmount community for 19 years, and I've called Fort Worth home for 32. So tonight, I am so excited to announce my crazy dream that I am going to open a yarn shop later this year, thanks to my old home angel, Mr. Ralph Watterson. JuJu Knits will be located at 2638 Lipscomb, right by the railroad tracks. I'll offer sip and stitch, socials, fiber fellowship, classes, and more, and pop-ups will begin this summer. Sometimes this wild dream feels like a big old ball of yarn and a mess of knots, and I am terrified. But you know what is greater than my fear? The support that I have had from you guys for 19 years in the near Southside, including from a humble, quiet man who I am honored to call friend. Ralph, I am one of thousands who have remained invested in the near Southside for decades because of you. You saw something worthwhile in the wide-eyed young idiot like I was 19 years ago. You remind us all that good people are here to help for no other reason than to just be a good person. You, my friend, are a near Southside dream catcher. Therefore, it is my huge honor on behalf of the entire near Southside community to tell you that tonight, you, Ralph Watterson, are the recipient of the prestigious Klein Watts Award for Historic Preservation. Please go to the center stage.
Receiving the Klein Watts Award for Historic Preservation tonight, His Master Craftsman, Warehouse Dreamer, and fellow Fairmountie, Casey Smith.
Honey, you gotta get up there.
Oh, does he go up there?
Yes.
Oh.